All right. Hey, welcome to the Social Media for Real Estate Agents podcast, where we find rock stars in social media and we get them to show us realtors how we can use social media to increase our business. I'm Khalid Nathan Aleem, licensed real estate agent in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. And today, our guest actually has a YouTube page that has close to 40,000 subscribers. So this man knows what he's doing. His name is Kiner Steinbrook, and he is from Texas. Hey, Kiner, how are you?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on the show. How's everybody doing?
Good, man. Thanks for taking your time, man. I know you're a super busy um realtor, man, with a bunch of people under you, but just wanted to bring you on. We have a lot of agents out there that are looking for help when it comes to social media. You got some people who are denying social media and some people who just can't get right when using social media. So I wanted to bring you on, find out how exactly did you start your YouTube page or your journey in social media?
Yeah, so it's kind of an accident, I guess you could say. Came out of fear is what I usually tell people. And so like I had a weird background. I went off to college in 2003 and I put $20 in a poker site my freshman year of college. And I think I'm getting some background on my side. Can I'm hearing like
You
an
getting
echo.
like an echo?
Yeah, let me try now. Test it. Okay, it went away.
Okay.
Okay, you want to just start over? Or do you want me to start after that question? You're going to merge it.
Yeah, start after the question.
Okay. Yeah, so I kind of had a weird background, guys. Like, I went off to college in 2003 and I put $20 in a poker site for fun. And what was happening at that time was the online poker boom happened, and a ton of people were flooding into the online poker space. And I started playing out small penny stakes and accidentally got good at the game, I guess. And my hobby became a profession. And I was doing that professionally for about 8 years. And I was actually one of the top online poker players for a long time. And what happened to me was on April 15th, 2011, if you guys go on the internet to look kind of the historical record, it's called Black Friday, and the United States DOJ shut down the big poker sites like Full Tilt Poker, Poker Stars, and Ultimate Bet. And what happened was I woke up on that day and my life was over. Essentially, I had one skill set; it was a great one, created a great life for myself. But that one skill set no longer applied. And what am I going to do now? So what happened was for like 2 years, I played poor me and spent all the money that I had left. And I actually ended up moving back home with my parents. As embarrassing as that
Mm.
sounds, I moved into my sister's bedroom of all
Oh wow.
because my bedroom was full of storage at this moment. So here I am, had the world in the tip of my fingers and had a great life in my early mid 20s, and all of a sudden now I'm took a sideball, curveball out of nowhere, and now I'm living in my sister's bedroom, trying to figure out what the hell just happened in my life. And so, I kind of walled around and poor me for years, and then what happened was I came across, Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich and the process of self development, and I started reading a bunch of books, and I started to build a belief in myself that I can do more with my life. And that's when I went out there and I decided I was going to go get my insurance license. And I did that. I joined a company called WFG, which is kind of like the EXP Realty of the insurance space, which kind of gave me some skill sets to understand that years later when I go back on kind of when we got into EXP, how to understand what we're doing. But what happened was I kind of started going down all these different types of processes for education. I started paying for home study courses. I wanted to become a real estate investor after insurance. Sorry. I decided I wasn't going to go in the insurance space long term, and I was going to become a real estate investor. And I went to a big guru company and paid like 35 grand for this ripoff company that I got tricked into. So be careful with that, guys. And I was buying all these courses. And before I knew it, I was $100,000 in debt. And I had
Wow.
completely run out of money, and everybody was like, just file bankruptcy and just start over. And I'm like, that's not the way I'm going to do this. I'm going to fight this every single day all the way through. My parents raised me better, and so
Mm.
basically what I was doing was I ended up getting a job for minimum wage, sweeping floors, Academy Sports and Outdoors. Some of you guys have seen my story before. And I was teaching myself while I was working there. I had just enough money coming in to pay for certain things like my websites. And I was
Okay.
going on YouTube, and there's a difference in how you generate leads in your business. Some take money, some take time, some take both, right? And so what I was going on YouTube doing was I was looking for YouTube videos to learn how to generate leads for my investment business, motivated seller leads without having to spend money, but just my time. And at the time, I was teaching myself how to build WordPress websites and learning search engine optimization and Google keyword tools and things like this. And I started building private WordPress websites, and I started building out, different landing pages and things like this, and started experimenting with all these different processes, and I was linking private YouTube channels to my website because at the time Google had just acquired YouTube just recently, and it drove the algorithm to a point where my website shot up to the top of the ranking, and I was #1 ranked for some of the biggest keywords in North Texas for a lot of our biggest cities. And I started generating a ton of leads on the internet. I started out wholesaling houses. Some of you guys know what a wholesale transaction is. And then I shut the wholesaling business down and moved into all fix and flip acquisitions. I started flipping houses like you guys see on HGTV. I started buying rental properties. I realized it wasn't cash flow, but it wasn't as much passive as I wanted. So I started selling some of my rental properties on owner financing. I started doing owner financing deals direct from buying from the homeowner and selling on the back end. I started creating notes, selling partial notes. I bought land, mobile homes on land, and along the way, I started my YouTube channel, Investor Army, and I just started sharing mistakes that I made early on in my business and some of the problems that I had and how I got over these. And a lot of people started watching that, and before I know it, it kind of took off, and it became Texas's #1 residential real estate investing YouTube channel. And all happened just because fear and that I was running out of money, and it just kind of forced this activity for me to have to go learn this new skill set. And then along the way, I ended up using YouTube for many other reasons. It led me to, have all the attention that we have. Some of you guys know that here at EXP, we run the Wolfpack organization. We're now over 1,700 agents. All that came from a trickle-down effect from getting on YouTube for my real estate investing business with no intent to have it happen. But that all came from kind of just living life and trying things as I went along and getting myself caught in spots, which usually creates an extra, kind of pressure, fight or flight mentality where you have an extra energy to go out there and build a skill set like this. So if you guys are struggling right now, don't look at it as a problem, look like as an opportunity for you to have extra energy to do something that you normally wouldn't do if you had a comfortable life right now. So some of you guys need to struggle a little bit to put the effort in needed to actually build a business. And sometimes people don't build a business because they're too comfortable, if that makes sense. But that's kind of a long story on how I got there. Struggle, ran out of debt, ran out of money, but I had time, and I used YouTube as a time platform to create attention, and that attention I created businesses around.
Gotcha. Now, anybody who's on YouTube knows that getting to 40,000 subs is a hard task. Is that something that you started out with that in mind? Like, hey, I want to get as many subs as possible, or what was your mind state when you first started the channel?
I think it was like a number of things. I mean, obviously, one of the big ones was I needed money coming in, so I knew that every single person on the email list or every phone number in my phone database or every view or subscriber on a channel on social media, there's a dollar amount attached to that contact, if that makes sense. So like if you had 1,000 contacts on your phone versus someone that has 10,000 and they're in business, the person with 10,000 pretty much every single time out of 100 is going to have a bigger net worth. Same thing with an email list. The bigger your email list, if you have 1,000 people on it and they have 100,000, the more people on your email list, each person has a dollar amount attached to it on a mass aggregate level. And so I knew that if a business is an attention center, so really what is a business? It's a center where we're driving attention to, and that attention is from potential clients or consumers. And then that attention gets us into the conversations, and then we can focus on conversion and building the business. So I knew if I could create enough attention from a free platform and enough views coming in, and like 100,000 was like a number in my mind. I didn't know if that was achievable or not, but I knew that if I could have that attention, I could redirect it in the areas that I wanted it to go to for all sorts of different purposes, raising money, doing joint venture deals. If I wanted to go into consulting and sell courses and things like that, that we actually ended up doing, now building our real estate team, and so, but also at the same time, we'll talk about this as we go through, like how to build a channel and kind of like some of the mentalities and psychologies behind it. I literally started it. Another reason was just to help people. So like, I know it sounds crazy. I had such a vendetta against these big gurus that like I almost wanted to go out there and put enough free information on the internet to almost stop these companies from being able to rip people off for 50,000 a piece. And so like, for example, when that same company came back through, they were doing all the same marketing. I'm not going to name their name, cause a big old fuss over the internet, but I had like $35 left to my name or something like that. And I went to Kinko's and I wrote my story of what they did to me and how all basically they misled us on what they said and all these fake numbers.
Wow.
And I was handing flyers out in the parking lot for people coming in to stop them from going to hearing that's the same pitch that I got sucked into. And I literally got physically thrown out of the garage where I was passing these flyers out. So when I say I was trying to do it as an intent to help people to avoid these types of companies, because when I hit that rock bottom period, it's hard for people to kind of emotionalize other people's emotions and stand in my shoes. Like, it was a dark time, like, like to the point where like suicidal thoughts on a daily basis. Like, that's how dark
Mhm.
it got. So I know if you guys are at that moment right now, no storm lasts forever. Your future can be brighter than it is today if you just push towards and try to get to that next level and get out of your situation. But as long as we sit there and play victim and sit there and don't do anything to move on our side, nothing's going to change around us. But that was kind of one of the big mentalities, was let me kind of help people out there. Now that I kind of figured out how to make money myself and fix my own situation, I said, if I can use this channel to create my bigger incomes, more businesses around it, and help people not go through the pain, or if they're in the pain that I was, get out of it, I couldn't think of anything else better to do. So I was going to make money and help people. And that's kind of like the mentality I had going into it. And as I started filming videos, I just tried to think about sincerely the problems that I felt. Other people have to be experiencing these same problems in their business. And if I figured out how to get around the problem, well, let me just tell them how I got around the problem. And that's what I did. So a lot of my first videos were like, hey, I messed up, I effed up. Here's how I did it. And then here's how I got myself out of the problem I got myself into. And a lot of people resonated with that because they saw themselves at their point of their business where I was at that moment when I'm talking about in the past, but they're in the present moment, living that moment lifetime, if that makes sense. I think that's what created a lot of my original followers that came onto the platform and it started following me early on.
Gotcha. Now, with social media is very wide. You have many different platforms. You got the LinkedIn, you got YouTube, you got Facebook, you got Instagram. It seems to be like YouTube is your lane. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But if it is, why did you pick YouTube instead of the other platforms that you have out there?
Well, so like at the time, Instagram wasn't the way it was, and they didn't even really have video at the time. And the joke I used to tell people is I didn't look good in bikini, so it didn't make sense. And it's like kind of like I didn't really get on Instagram much. And there's really Mike Sherrard that kind of got me to even get back on Instagram. And then at the time, LinkedIn seemed a little bit more formal, and it was a little bit of older population at the time, I guess you could say, and it didn't really seem like where I could generate what I was trying to do, at least. And then Facebook was just kind of like this weird social dynamic where there's too many distractions, and too much going on there that didn't have to do with business, and it didn't have the ability to have evergreen content. So what I like
Mm,
about YouTube is that my efforts today have a bigger payoff tomorrow, and the dollar time it the amount of time and money and energy and emotion I spend today has a much bigger back end payoff. So the fact that if you don't know what evergreen content is, think about like a Christmas tree. It's always green all year long. Well, your content's going to be out there, and if it's relevant today, something like how to make the world's best pumpkin pie for
mhm.
Thanksgiving. Probably in 10 years from now, people are going to want to know the recipe on how to make the best pumpkin pie. So you could trade a small effort of time today to create an exponential return on your time tomorrow. So there's videos that we actually have where I spent 30 minutes filming a video, and I've had hundreds of thousands of people watch that video. So let's say you trade 10 minutes, and then 100,000 people spend 10 minutes each in relationship back to that 10 minutes of time being traded. Look at the return on your time invested as compared to you spending 10 minutes making a cold call to a single house or homeowner one time, and you traded 1 unit of your time to 1 unit of time from a potential business opportunity. So you're leveraged. The video marketing process gives you a lot higher conversion rates when it comes to communication and building relationships with people through the platform. And so those are the kind of some of the main reasons. Had a better ability to communicate. I could have longer form content. I like the idea also of building another residual income stream with the AdSense. Over time, I knew if I got it big enough, that it could actually be a full-time business in itself just with the AdSense. And then just like a lot of people were going on YouTube more at the time to find pretty much anything and all information as a search tool, as compared to more like on like Facebook. Like nobody's going on Facebook to like type in how to generate leads for my business or how to do Facebook marketing, right? You can find that on there, but it wasn't kind of like a search platform. So there's like a lot of different things that kind of all created this concoction as a perfect storm that just kind of led me in to popping on YouTube and swinging for it.
Gotcha. Now, how did you get your skills up in YouTube? Was it just YouTube University, or did you have a coach? Because I mean, as realtors, we're bombarded with advertisements. Hey, let me be your coach. Hey, let me do this for you. Hey, automate this. I mean, this is like the time for online coaching. Um, how did you build your skills? Okay, was it something through YouTube University, or something that you had a coach or you paid somebody?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's favorite coach is failure, right? So like I was literally, at this moment, so if you can like stand with me, guys, and stand in my shoes, you know, the world's falling apart, literally don't know what's going to happen, terrified beyond belief. It was just straight fear that led me to do it. I knew if I didn't do it, it's kind of like if, you know, like I give you an analogy, if I'm swimming in the ocean, if I stop swimming, I'm gonna drown, right? So when it came to the platform, I've run out of money. So that eliminates all the paid strategies and how I can generate business. I didn't have a following at that moment. So like I couldn't leverage any of the time strategies using my other, you know, what I've already built. So I had to do something. And this was kind of like the last flag I saw, like, I'm gonna put my time into this and swing for it and give it a go and do the best I can. And I'm really kind of in a spot where I don't have a choice, you know. So it's a combination of just trial and error failing things, and then also using YouTube not to be on a platform where myself is on it, but using it as an educational system. And I was going on YouTube and I was typing in, looking for videos on how to understand how to the YouTube algorithm works, you know, how to understand best practices on YouTube, you know, how to increase my watch time, how to get more viewers, how to get more subscribers. And so anything that you want to get, anything that you want to become successful at, you want to aggressively study it. And so, like, let's say you want to learn YouTube. Well, you're going to go out there and find as many videos as you can from as many different perspectives as possible. And so, as you start to go and look at all these other channels, and let's say I'm looking at, you know, like how to increase watch time or how to understand the algorithms, and I'm watching 5, 6, 7, 10 videos from different influencers, and I start to see an overlapping of the same information, it gives me more confidence that that overlap of repetition information from different people increases the likelihood that that information is the accurate information, which makes me have more confidence to invest my time as a risk into doing something. So I looked for patterns, and I'd go and watch as much as I can, as fast as I can, to see if I could start seeing patterns from other people that had success before me. And then I'd have more confidence trying things that I saw multiple people saying worked, if that makes sense, instead of just watching one video and taking as the gospel and just trying to spend all my time doing it. So before you start going and just trying all sorts of stuff, research, get data, get information, figure out what's going on, you know, study the algorithms, study other people's channels and stuff like that before you actually start putting your time into what you're doing. And then once you start putting your time into your own videos and your own channel, then you're going to just adjust off of kind of the data that comes in. So what you guys need to get a habit of is going in that back office section and watching the views, watching the watch time, watching when people click off the videos at the beginning, watching how many people, you know, what your click-through rates are, you know, looking at all the different things like impressions and things like this. So as you start to take action, you're going to start to receive data. And as you have data, you study that data to adjust off of. So in the beginning, study enough to build enough confidence to get yourself to pull the trigger and get on the platform and start filming videos. And then as the videos start getting out there and you start having data come in, that's when you adjust off the data and decide what you're going to do going forward.
And that's funny that you say that, because it seems like your mentality, which is super smart, is that, okay, if I don't know something, Google it. If I need to learn something, Google it. If a question comes into my head, Google it. And it seems
Yeah.
like you're thinking through the problem. And when you hit whatever roadblock, then you're Google or you're YouTubing it to see what somebody else has said about that.
Right. And well, you can reverse engineer the channels. So like think about like the Matrix, right? You know, like when he's like, I forget, like, there's so many of them, but like the first one when he's like, you're gonna learn kung fu or whatever, and he puts the system and he's like, I know kung fu, and then he's got that famous scene where he like floats in the air, right? So think of yourself as that. Think of yourself as a computer system that you're downloading extra systems into. And so if you know kung fu, you know jujitsu, and you know judo, and you know all these different martial arts now, compared to somebody that doesn't know any of that, what is your skill set in the fighting world? Would the black belt in jiu-jitsu and a black belt in judo, how would they fare out in a UFC fight where someone that's never taken any training on anything, right? So the point is,
Gotcha.
every single person watching this is the same. We all have one life, we all have one consciousness, we all have one energy force, and we can all get better. And so, like, you know, we talked about this before, where it's a very simple thing to understand, but once you understand it, it's an incredibly empowering thing that, you know, you're a person, I'm a person, if all these other people around us are persons too. I know I'm talking a weird language for you guys, but the point is, if that person can become successful and started from nothing, why can't I do it? And if she can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. So something clicked for me that at one point was like, you know, all these people around me, they're successful, they came from nothing. So something changed in their life. And what happened was they changed who they were. And that came from just building skill sets to increasing their value to the marketplace. So one of the things that people struggle with in social media and they struggle with in business is you won't grow unless you create value for the marketplace. So you don't just get paid for time like you do in a job world. So like when people are working a 9 to 5 job, they show up, they trade their time for a predetermined dollar amount, and they trade their time for what they're told their time is supposed to be done, what they should be doing with their time. When you jump into the business world, you could work that same 40-hour week, probably over double that. You could be working 80 to 100 hours a week, and it doesn't matter if you're working hours and putting time in and feeling the stress on your body and putting those hours in, if you're not creating value for the marketplace. Like you could literally work all day every day. If you're not creating value, you will make no money, and that's a big struggle for a lot of people. And same thing on the platform. You can create as many videos as you want. You can study the algorithms and do all this, but if you're not solving a problem or entertaining someone or giving value in some way, people have a choice to watch someone else, and they're going to watch someone else over you because you're competing against their attention, if that makes sense. And so I'm always trying to figure out, how can I either save someone time, help them increase their income, or help them get out of some type of negative emotional pattern, or become or show them how to become a happier person or more positive person or something like that. So I'm always trying to either show them how their income can go up, their stress can go down, and their time management of whatever they're doing can go down. Those are the three things that trigger people to feel that they have value being created for them.
Gotcha. Now, realtors, we're a special bunch. So if you have a lot of realtors, as they say, are creatures of habit. So they're just stuck into doing what they've always done. So if somebody were to say to you, "Hey, I don't have time to jump on there, or that's for kids, and I don't have time to get on there and learn all of that and YouTube all of that because I have 4 kids or 5 kids like myself." Um, what do you tell them? Is it better for them to pay somebody, or is it like construction where most of the time conventional wisdom is for whether it's painting or roofing, know what the job is, then hire somebody, but know it so can nobody take advantage of you? What would you say as far as social media? If a realtor has a limited amount of time, should they be doing it themselves and doing the research and putting the time in there, or should they just be hiring somebody to do it?
I'm going to give you a number of different answers here, a number of different ways to look at it. First thing, guys, if your mind comes to the answer that you don't have time, it's because you're not doing the correct things with your time. If that makes sense. You're not running your life and managing your business the way it should be. So we all have 24 hours in a day, but high performance people understand time compression. They understand how to get more out of the day than everybody else. For example, we call them a two for one. So instead of driving in the car to a property and listening to the radio, why not listen to an audiobook while you're on the treadmill? Instead of just running, listening to a song, listen to some type of educational system, or brainstorm what you're going to do for the next day, or plan your next day ahead of time. So you're always looking to do 2 things at one time. And because let's say you did that with 4 hours of your day, you just increase your day to 28 hours, right? Now, another thing that as far as what YouTube does is it compresses time and increases time. So look at traditional marketing strategies that you guys could do in the marketplace. Like, how many people started out door knocking? Think about the time relationship to what you're doing. You go out and door knock for 2 hours. You spend 2 hours of knocking doors. How many potential contacts could you get in front of them? Now, you could never door knock for 24 hours straight. I guess you could. Probably get some police called on you, and you're going to fall apart. Your body's going to break on you. So the point is, you cannot spend 24 hours a day doing certain things. But if you start filming 15-minute videos here and there and do this incrementally, slowly over time, a couple a week, and you stay consistent, after a couple of years, you're going to have this giant asset that's been built up on the internet of all these videos out there that people can come across. And a lot of people I know that do what we do on YouTube have 30, 50, 100, hundreds of hours of views, meaning people sitting as far as watch time watching the video on a daily basis. So if you have 25 hours of inbound attention, which is what we're trying to do in business, coming in a 24-hour day, meaning the aggregate of minutes watched on your channel is more than the hours in a day and minutes in a day, you just increase the amount of marketing that you can do up and beyond in one day's time period because of leverage, if that makes sense. So you can increase your time by trading small amounts of time today to have exponential returns of time coming back tomorrow. So if I film a video, so I'm in Dallas, Cowboy Stadium's huge. It holds I think almost 100,000 people. And my most viewed video has almost 600,000 views, which is pretty big, but in comparison to some channels out there, that's not that big actually, right? But when you put it in comparison, in my room for free on a free platform using a phone that I already paid for my personal life. I filmed a video that took tens of minutes that now had hundreds of thousands of people trading tens of minutes back. So there's nothing more leverage and more powerful than that. Now, to kind of go into like the other question, I just want to point those things out. In the beginning of your channel, guys, you always want to look in your business or on your platforms on your brand that you're building in relationship with time or money. So sometimes you have more time than money, sometimes you have more money than time, and sometimes you don't have either. Sometimes you might have both, right? And so everything is just kind of, it depends. So when I was $100,000 in debt, and a lot of you guys starting out on social media right now probably are not in a good financial situation, which is okay. So you know what my story is. I was 100 grand debt, now I do pretty well, right? So you can follow the same path, but use your time in the beginning. And then as you use your time to create your channel and start creating attention and start building your businesses and you start to bring in money, then use your money to buy your time back. Now, one of the best ways to get your time back is to hire virtual assistants. So even if you guys are only making minimum wage, let's say you're making $15 an hour, you hire a virtual assistant for $5 an hour, don't look at it as an expense in your business. Look at it as you're making $10 an hour every time you pay that person, because you're trading your time that's 1 hour to create $15 in a dollar amount, when you can take $5 of that $15 and give it to someone to get that hour of your time back. And what happens is you can become more valuable. So like, for example, when I was 100 grand debt, my value of my time was like nothing. Now my value of my time is almost $20 a minute. And that's not to try to be braggadocious. That's just trying to point out that time changes and the value of your time changes when your skill sets and the value you bring to the marketplace goes up. So the more valuable you are to the marketplace, meaning the harder you are to replace, meaning if you're easily able to be replaced, your income's low. If you're hard to be replaced, your income's high, your dollar amount increases. And so as your dollar amount for your value that you have goes up, you start to use more of your money to buy back your time. So time first, start increasing your value, and then use your money to buy back your time. And that's when you start hiring employees, bringing on assistants, paying for systems, technologies, and anything else to leverage yourself to increase your time. But I hope that helps. So like, I'll be using all your time in the beginning if you don't have a lot of money, and then let that transition over time to switch to paying more third-party services to handle all that for you guys.
Gotcha. I think most of the people who are going to be looking at this are kind of starting out. So you got us as far as the reasons why, okay, we really need to be using YouTube, or we really need to be using video content. Now, as far as, should I be going and buying expensive equipment, or should I be just using my phone, and I'm not really that skilled at talking on the camera? I guess, what things can I do as far as equipment, and what things should I do as far as to get my skills up as far as talking in front of a camera?
Yeah. So first off, guys, like, expect to suck. And if you're one of the random ones that's just natural, then hey, more power to you. But like, everything in life has a sucking to world-class hierarchy structure, I guess you could say. So I actually have a video on my channel talking about this. So like, when you start anything new, guys, you're going to suck. You're going to be horrible at it. And then after you try things for a little bit and you put some time into it, you're going to fail. You're going to realize that you're not good at it, and that you're going to start to learn things, and you're going to suck a little bit less than you did. Then you're going to only suck a little bit. Then you're going to, hey, I'm not that bad actually, and now I'm average. Hey, actually, now I'm getting pretty good. Now I'm great. Now I'm world class. Now people will pay me to do it. And that comes from failure over time and studying the reasons why you failed and adjusting off of it. So I would get out there and just expect to suck. Don't worry about it. Everybody went through that process. You have to pay your dues. Now, as far as like equipment, I started out with just a cell phone and the free platform. And I didn't spend anything on, as far as like investing in like external cameras or anything like that, until I was making money in business, because I didn't have any money. I was just using just my time. So I was just using a cell phone and virtual assistants to kind of help a little bit post, all my stuff around the internet to give my time back, because that was a small expense I could afford at the time. But I wouldn't just go out investing in all this film equipment and investing in all these different expensive things until you have the basics of the platform down. So your video quality and your content quality will come over time, and your skill sets will come over time in video delivery and editing. But you won't get to that window where you have enough time in your business for your skill sets to go up if you quit the platforms, because you get so frustrated because you're not getting views and you're spending too much time early on. And so I would spend most of or all of your time understanding how these algorithms work, watching videos on how to understand watch time, click-through rates, post-launch velocity, returning viewers, these types of things. Because if you're studying how the system works and you understand it, you'll have more confidence to do it. And then as you start to see the results, you can build off of it and build your skill sets over time. But if your video is never being found because you don't know how to optimize the video through that pre-content process, choosing the right titles, tags, descriptions, keywords, and things like this, your video may be the best video in the world. You just invested all this time and money with the best equipment, the best everything, but nobody even knew your video was on the platform because you didn't optimize your video. So it'd be like the number one blockbuster movie of all time was at the movie theaters, but you never saw a commercial for it and you never saw the name on the board. Nobody's ever going to go watch the video or the movie, even if it's the best. So the main thing is understanding how to trigger the algorithms and understand how the platform works. And you can watch free YouTube videos on how all these work. And then I'd be spending money and time on the other steps of making higher quality videos. But the most important thing is to know how videos get promoted on the platform.
Gotcha. Now, when I'm coaching different agents on social media, my thing is to tell them to go deep before they go wide. So, are you just concentrating on YouTube, or are you on every platform? And what do you recommend to real estate agents as far as should they be on all platforms or just on YouTube?
Yeah, I think it's a time goal over time that you should work to have all the platforms working in a unified way with the same, kind of like, let's say you have a brand that should be same colors, same type of like mentality behind it, should be kind of unified across all the platforms. That should be a time goal that you work up to. In the beginning, don't try to do everything at once, guys. Like I mainly focused on Facebook, YouTube, and podcasting when I started out. Those were kind of like my three main focuses. Now you can, if you really want to, go and try everything, but the problem is it's kind of like a dog can't chase 10 cars at one time. You're going to be so scattered out across them unless you create a good system on repurposing your content. So like, YouTube's a little bit longer form content. So if you're going to use these other platforms where all you're doing is taking, let's say this podcast that we have here, and you're taking chunks out, little 30 second, 60 second, 1 minute clips, and you're repurposing and putting them on your other platforms like Instagram and stuff that has shorter form content, or TikTok, then it's okay. But I would focus aggressively on YouTube because it's the most powerful platform and it's the number one platform for business, and your dollar return for your time, energy, and effort spent is the highest because of evergreen content. Your content's going to be out there forever. If it's relevant today, it'll be relevant tomorrow if it's on a topic such as that. So in more people are going on YouTube to search for information for business purposes than probably any other platform. Like, I mean, you can find like a lot of good business partners on like LinkedIn, but most people don't go on Facebook to figure out, how to raise capital or something like that, or how to, structure an owner financing subject to wrap transaction or something like that. They're going on YouTube. So YouTube is going to be where the highest level of, in my opinion, business person that will be spending their time on the platform. Even though like people would probably say LinkedIn, it's just probably not the case. I think your time is best spent on YouTube for a lot of different reasons. I don't know how deep you want to go into this. We can go down the rabbit hole, but I would focus on YouTube for sure, and then Instagram and TikTok right now. If I was to start over, it's always YouTube first, and then I think Instagram and TikTok way over LinkedIn and Facebook right now. To be honest, I don't even hardly go on Facebook anymore, and I mean, like if I was using certain strategies on there, I would, but for everything I'm doing, Facebook is like on the bottom of my list actually, which is kind of weird for most people to hear. But that's just my take and my opinion on it.
Okay. Yeah, because most people, a lot of people are, I mean, I think Facebook is still the juggernaut
Mm-hmm.
as far as people day in and day out, but it's probably more for entertainment more than anything else.
Well, you got to think of why would you see such an organic reach on TikTok right now? So if you look at all, like, and LinkedIn did this too. So like, what are these platforms' goals? Just to like give us a cool place to talk with friends and do business? No, they're trying to make profit, right? They're trying to sell advertising, and so their goal is to keep people on the platform for as many minutes as possible. For example, YouTube. That's why watch time is a trigger for the algorithm. That if you have high watch time, they're going to promote your videos, because the more people are on, the more minutes of videos watched on your channel, is the more ads can be run on the platform, so they can sell more advertising. So the problem is, once these platforms have been seasoned, I guess you could say, meaning they've been around for a while, nobody doesn't know who Facebook is, the biggest platform in the world, 2.5+ billion users. The problem is there's so many people on there the companies, they don't need to give free money or free attention away like they did when they're trying to get people on the platform. So for example, if you're a brand new startup social media site right now tomorrow, if it's difficult for people to gain followers and to get attention, they're not going to use your platform. So like in the beginning, what these companies do is they make it easy for organic growth. That's why you hear about people putting their first TikTok and getting millions of views on that first TikTok, because TikTok has to compete against people who are trading their time to put YouTube videos out and Facebook posts out. So how do you get people from Facebook to start using TikTok? You make it extremely easy for them to get free attention. And so when these new platforms pop up, guys, TikTok, and as you guys are going to see them over the years, I mean, there's been how many? You've got like Periscope and like, you know, like, oh, they're
Snapchat.
Snapchat, like a billion of them. So what you guys need to look at is as these platforms pop up, there's this grace window where they're giving free attention away, if that makes sense. They're gonna drive you organically to get you in front of a lot of people because you're like, whoa, I posted a video on TikTok, I got 1 million views. I posted on Facebook and they said, nobody.
It's terrible.
They're seasoned, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yes, there's a bunch of people on them, and yes, you probably already have your built out systems and what you're doing. And I'm not saying don't. Oops, sorry. I'm not saying don't use Facebook. I'm just saying if you want the highest likelihood to compete in the organic space without spending money, it's the newer platforms that now have attention being redirected to them. That's why TikTok, you're seeing these people come on and get like exponential views in comparison to like LinkedIn or Facebook, because as they grow and they have billions of people on there, they don't need to promote you as easily for free. They would rather you pay. They'd rather use their paid services and things like that. So now they got you on the platform. Now they got their hooks in you. Now they're not going to make it easy for you. And that's why it gets tougher to grow on these platforms the bigger they get. For another also combination of reasons, you're competing against more people on Facebook. So you have less competition on a smaller platform, and the company side's more likely to organically push your content, meaning you could hit a viral video, which could change your life with one video. So that's why I would focus on those as far as my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Because I'll repurpose stuff. I'll do a TikTok and I'll repurpose it on Instagram. And on there's one video that I did. It got 40,000 views on TikTok, and it got like 300 on Instagram. And it's the same video. And I actually know more people on Instagram than I do on TikTok. But it's like they will pump it and pump it and pump it. But not to switch subjects, but as far as just to get into the meat and potatoes, as far as YouTube, one of my challenges is when I'm doing a video, I have to start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And I'm trying to remember what I'm saying, and then I lose focus. And I had brought up that I've been playing football for like 24 years. So I think of my head going into the helmet, boom, 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 boom. I can't keep a thought for a long time. So what do you do, number one, and what's your suggestion? Is it that somebody should have a teleprompter and read like a newscaster, or get the idea and then come back to the channel, or just freestyle off the top of their head, have an idea and just freestyle off the top of their head?
Yeah, so we'll touch on a number of different things here. So if you watch a lot of my videos, guys, they don't really have editing. So I don't have jump cuts. And what a jump cut is where you kind of see the clips merge, right? And so like one of my mentalities early on, partly maybe I just convinced myself of this, was like, I don't want to have a bunch of jump cuts because it shows I don't know what I'm actually talking about. Now, whether that's the truth or not, like when I'd watch channels early on before I really knew the platform, I'd be like, this dude can't even talk for 7 seconds straight without having a jump cut. You see the jump cut. To me,
That's
y'all
me.
know that. Yeah. And to me, but like I was thinking I was like, is this dude just like watching my video, or is he reading a book and like reading one line and then saying it and then reading it? So I was like, if I can speak consistently in one 15-minute take, and I speak intelligently and consistently, people are going to say like, this guy's not a fake on YouTube. He's the real deal. That was one mentality I had. Second mentality was I was busy as hell, and I was also kind of in a sinking ship, and I was terrified of my current position in life. It was not a good time for me. And the last thing I wanted to do was increase different things that I think I didn't have to do, which was like editing and slowing the process down. So for me, I just cut the front end and cut the back end, add an intro, then off of Fiverr, and then add an outro off Fiverr. So like my channel didn't grow because of like high quality editing and high quality, lighting and audio. It grew through just like me sincerely trying to help people, and it resonated because people could feel that when I'm talking to them, if that makes sense. So I don't think you need to have all these different editing systems right away. Now, in hindsight, the best videos now are jump cut, and it doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about. So if you do it right and merge the videos right, but it can create a higher paced video and can increase watch time, because that quick sporadic jumping from clip to clip, like if you think of like how like a or like you got Logan Paul and David Dobrik, they kind of move to like that short 4 to 5 minute high intensity random keep you guessing type of like clip to clip to clip, where the previous clip may have nothing to do with the front clip. And what that does is it keeps people curious to what's coming next, right? And so that's also why I do the bullet point videos. Now, to talk about ways to film your video, look at them into two different buckets. You're going to have your documentation type of videos, which is where you guys can all start out, and then you're going to have your creational type of videos, creation videos, which is what I do most of. So a documentation video is something that anybody can do. These are those channels you see like as a brand new agent, where it's like, follow my journey, I'm getting my real estate license, and they're documenting their journey. Or they're at a property, and like they're at one of their house flips, and they just pull out their camera and they film what's going on here. Oh my gosh, guys, code enforcement's at the property. Look like we have an issue here, and they're just documenting it, meaning there's no pre-planned video. I mean, they may have thought about it in their head when they're driving to the property, but it wasn't like a structured bullet pointed video where they knew exactly the bullet points in order, sequential order, which they're going through. So that's the fastest way for you guys to get going and to leverage your time, to compress your time by doing that on top of the activities you're already doing. So looking for opportunities to film a video while you're driving between properties, while you're at properties. Let's say you're waiting outside a title company and closing gets delayed 30 minutes. Don't just sit there in the lobby and be annoyed. Walk outside and explain, hey guys, this is part of the business. Super frustrated right now, but instead of sitting here waiting, I'm gonna knock out a little video and explain to you that this happens, right? Now the second side, so you guys can all start documenting and doing documentation videos, and these are just be you, and don't try to act, just be your normal personality. Even if you don't think you have a good one, you're better off being you than trying to be somebody else, because people will see through it. Now the other side is creational videos. This is where you're going to set up ahead of time an exact pre-planned video with bullet points. And these are kind of be like the five steps to running your first open house, or 3 steps to understand the appraisal process, like whatever it is. And these are going to be pre-planned videos that you construct ahead of time. Those take a little bit more time. They do create a little bit higher watch time, usually when you do it that way. But I didn't have expensive editing systems, and I didn't spend a lot of time editing my videos. I didn't want to burn myself out. I wanted to get content out, but not burn myself out through the editing process. So what I would be spending more time on is creating more videos that don't have in your mind the type of quality that you think they need to be successful, meaning not the best lighting, not the best audio, not the best jump cuts, not overlaying videos and CTA pop-ups and all this stuff over them, but get more content out. Because what you're trying to do is catch a viral video, and it could be the worst video you ever put out. And that's just kind of how it works. Just because you think it's bad doesn't mean that it might not trigger everything, just a perfect storm. So instead of over editing in the beginning and really trying to make these videos super nice to compete, I would just try to start out and spend more of your time creating more videos, because more videos creates more opportunities for one to catch the algorithm. And once you have one video run off, that's going to start building the other channels. So if you look at most big channels, like 3 or 5 videos built the majority of their channel. If you go look at kind of their analytics and their data and track the density of where their views are. So I know I covered a whole bunch there. I just touched on a number of different things there. So hopefully you guys caught a few things that triggered some creative ideas for you guys going forward.
No, that makes sense. I mean, just thinking it over, like you said, the more, it's almost like sending soldiers out, and someone's going to get the big kill, and then once they bring back the big kill, then the other ones latch on also. So I never thought of it like that. And
Yeah.
I had I used to do Uber several years ago, and I had a channel, and that channel, a YouTube channel, and that channel got up to 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers. I had about 5 or 6 videos that did more than 100,000 views. Nice. But there was no, and I like the name for it, jump cut. I never knew what that terminology was, but now I know. There was no jump cut like I'm doing now. It was just me sitting in a car, just talking about my experience or what happened the previous night in the cities of Philadelphia. But a couple of those resonated, and YouTube pushed them out. And what'll happen is when somebody does see your information, they'll come back to your channel and then um, check the other views or
Right.
check the other videos. That's what I'm looking for.
Right. So once you get one that gets pushed, you guys know what it's like to go on YouTube. So like if you go on YouTube tonight and let's say you clicked on a random car channel or a channel that you don't normally click on, like let's say you click on my channel. So you go over to my Investor Army channel, go do it, just kidding, and you click on a video. Next time later tonight when you go on YouTube, what's going to happen is you're going to click on YouTube and you're
Mm,
videos from my channel. So that's
all
called
right.
the browse. So what they're doing is YouTube saying this person I showed all these videos to on a landing page, which is called an impression. They showed them a video on cars, on cats, on dogs, on birds, on government, politics, whatever. They flashed all these random things, and this person through this account clicked the dog video, right? So what we're going to do? We're going to show them other videos from that channel
Right.
that person put out that they clicked that channel originally because they showed interest of it. So if they showed interest one time, they may show interest again until YouTube knows otherwise based off your clicking patterns. And then they're also going to suggest other videos on dogs from other channels, right? So you're trying to put a lot of volume out in the beginning to get one video to take off. So you may be getting 50 views, 100 views, 72 views, 50 views, 900 views. That's a good one. And then all of a sudden you put one out that gets 7,000, 12,000 views. Now what you need to do is if you're putting kind of like a wide range of topics on your channel. So like my channel's on investing, right? My main one. So if I'm putting landlord videos out, house flip videos out, wholesaling videos out, owner financing videos out, Airbnb videos out, and all of a sudden an Airbnb video takes off or a mobile home video takes off. I want to put out like kind content directly after that in volume because let's say it just shoots off and I get 11,000 people on a mobile home video. What does that mean? That means there's 11,000 new cold market individuals that just came across your information because you caught the algorithm at the right time through just volume, fail, catch the break. Now you need to be prepared to have your net not have holes in it. Because I give the analogy like salmon running. If you have a bunch of holes in it, you're going to, even though the ton came in the net, they're all going to get out. Now you want to put consistent videos on Airbnb videos right after it because all those people that click that first video click that video because of the Airbnb mentality. And this can be for whatever you guys are doing on your channel. This doesn't have to be real. So I'm just trying to give you an idea. You want to piggyback on that same type of niche topic that got that normal attention because out of those 11,000 people, if that first video you did was good and you put another Airbnb video out, think about how many people are going to click that next video and so on. And it creates that propulsion, that exponential growth that you guys hear about with snowballing effects. So all you're trying to do,
Pure gold.
drill these dry holes, fail, catch a break, and then piggyback on that win, and then start putting more videos out behind it, and that's going to create that snowball effect.
Pure gold. Pure gold. Pure wow. That's definitely awesome, man. Well, listen, you gave us a lot to chew on here. Every guest that we have on here, what I ask them to do is to give us realtors some type of play, some play that we can take and we can implement today in our business. So what do you have for us realtors as far as a play that we can implement in our social media game?
Yeah, so the number one thing is like put off, quality of video, like what type of softwares and systems you're going to use until. So there's three different parts of like a video marketing process. So you have your pre-content process, which is the optimization side, everything that happens before someone actually watches the video. Then you're going to have the content process, which is actually when the person's sitting in front of the video, watching the video. And then you're going to have the post-content process, which is where you're going to make money from the platform, meaning once you have views, you need to redirect that attention, that the attention's coming to channel through what's called a call to action. It can be a verbal call to action, like, hey, go check out my website, or hey, set up a Calendly link appointment. It can be an embedded pop-up, like you're going to see this video right here. You can see, I don't know if they can see what I see right now, but you've got all the overlay pop-ups with, your call to action to your Realtor Wolfpack websites and things like that. So 3-step process. Pre-content to post-content. So the pre-content process in sequential order, it's the most important. This is the optimization side of your videos, because if you had the number one blockbuster hit, and then nobody knew it's in theaters, who's going to watch it? So you need to focus on watching videos if you want to do YouTube on how to understand the algorithms, how to understand how to choose the correct titles, how to choose the correct tags, how to write the correct description. And I'd be looking at like keyword tools, like Keywords Everywhere. I'd be looking at things potentially like vidIQ and TubeBuddy, which are two systems or two companies that have like a, I don't know the system, but they can help you with your channel. It's going to track all your analytics and things like that. So I'd be focusing on understanding how the platform works before you invest heavily on like understanding editing and everything like that, because you'll get frustrated if you're not getting any views. You will get views if your videos are bad, but you won't get views if you have no optimized video and you can't be found, if that makes sense. So the most important thing is the optimization side. So go on YouTube, type in things like YouTube algorithms, YouTube traffic sources, how to get more views on YouTube, how to get more subscribers on YouTube. These types of videos, they're going to kind of teach you the fundamentals of the process. Then once you kind of understand how it all works and kind of the best practices, then you focus on the second set of skill sets, which is like the actual content process, your delivery, finding your own flow. Like, and you'll see this happen with channels where people suck in the beginning and you watch their channel over time and they start to find themselves into a groove where they have their speaking patterns and things like that. You'll evolve yourself into the own person you're going to be on the internet. That's the second set of skill sets, is, you know, like editing, lighting, audio, you know, how to do this correctly, you know, jump cuts and things like that. And then the third skill set is, as you start getting people to watch the videos, it doesn't matter if you just have attention. If you're trying to build a business, you need to have dollars in your bank account, not just subscribers on your platform, right? So now you need the post content process side. Can you drive these people to a Calendly appointment link with you? Can you drive them into an email list and get their email information? Can you get them into a text link, meaning text this number, get their phone number? Can you get them into a retargeting system? Can you get them into a funnel or into a mastermind group or something like that? So if you're looking to get on YouTube, first step is focus on pre-content optimization side, how the algorithms and things work. Second step is then focus on the skill sets for content production and making great videos. And the third step is kind of simultaneously, as views start to come in, making sure you have a backend system that once people come to the platform, you have a way to get in contact with them, because otherwise you're going to be doing all this for nothing. And you have a lot of people come to your channel and those salmon are swimming right through those holes in the net and they're going out the back end, if that makes sense.
Call to action, right?
Call to action, yeah. And you can do this in lots of different ways. Verbally, just say it in the video. Overlay pop-up, which you can see on this video right now, all the social media for real estate agents at top and all the talking points, that's an overlay. This is a static overlay. You can also have an embedded pop-up overlay, meaning that, like, let's say we're talking right now and it's just our video, and all of a sudden a graphic pops up that says go to www.agentwolfpackfounder or like whatever, wherever you're going to send it to, right? That's an overlay pop-up. Now you can have a background call to action, which is becoming increasingly more popular. And one of the best ways to do this, guys, is to have, what if I had my logos, or what if I had like my website or my brand on the back behind me on a shelf or on a sign back there, right? So you see like a lot of EXP agents doing this on their platform. So instead of doing an in-your-face call to action where I'm actually saying it, hey, go on over if you want to set a Calendly link to sit down with me to what it's looked like to look with or work with our Wolfpack organization, you would just say, or they would see it behind you. So it's there in front of their face, but you're not calling attention to it, even though it's right there in the face. It's like a CTA, the whole video, and they're going to see it. And they're, out of curiosity, they're going to go look around on your channel art and in your description. They're going to find what you have to offer. So you can put up just a static background that's a continuous call to action, that's a more passive call to action. And then the last one you can put on your outro video. So as you guys film your video, at the end, you see people have an outro. That's a redirection. And then another call to action is you guys can use what's called a card. So at the top right of your videos, there's a card section that will pop across the screen, and anything to break people's attention to redirect it. So like if we're talking for 10 minutes and you guys are zoning out, and all of a sudden one of those cards pops up at the top, that pop-up or that breaking of attention is going to redirect your attention to it, and you may click it, and that can drive people to wherever you're trying to drive them to. So think about pre-content to content to post-content in sequential order, the skill sets that you should focus on, and that's kind of where I'd start.
All right, cool, man. You definitely had several mic drops in this podcast, man. So I definitely appreciate you, man. If you ever need anything from me, let me know. And guys, I hope you had your paper and pens. This is a episode that you probably need to watch 4 or 5 times for it to really soak in, man. I appreciate your time, man, and I'll catch everybody else on the next episode. We out.
Thanks, guys. You have a great day. Good.